Morning. Thank you for being here. I very much appreciate this march. I've attended it before and proud to be back again with the Lieutenant Governor Nancy Lyman, who's also with me. I want to talk about two things. One is that we have a proliferation of violence in our urban environment. And in 2011, we had 129 homicides in the state of Connecticut. 94 of those occurred in 3 communities: Bridgeport, Hartford, and New Haven. We've got to do something in our urban environments to stop the flow of blood in our streets. There are lots of things that are connected here. Inability to properly educate our children, lack of employment opportunities and hope, and the proliferation of guns all come together, particularly in an urban environment, to create the kinds of death and carnage that we're here today to talk about and to stand witness to. There is a reality that the crosses that you carry and hold high represent individuals who have been lost in our community. Almost all of them to gun violence. And in most of the cases, those guns were purchased in our state or brought to our state illegally, which is where we then have this other intersection about gun laws and gun control and gun safety. The reality is we have not done enough in our country, but we are on a road to common sense legislation that will help us fight urban gun violence in New Haven and Bridgeport and in Hartford and elsewhere, but will also make our children safer in schools, in malls, in movie theaters, and in public places across this nation. The senator just spoke about it. But the idea that not one of us could get on a plane today without someone doing a background check on you, but you could walk into a store or walk into a place in this country or walk into a show and buy a gun, and no one, let me say it again, no one checks to see whether you've been adjudicated mentally ill, whether you have a long felony background, whether you have orders against you. That makes no sense. And we've got to do something about that in our nation, and Washington's got to respond. In our own state, the idea that we're still selling some guns, assault weapons, that we should have eliminated a long time ago, and in fact have had laws on the books that said you could not sell assault weapons, but companies found loopholes that you could drive a truck through, makes no sense at all. We must end the sale of assault weapons in Connecticut. And on December 14th, when a young man decided to reap as much carnage as he could, he left at home single bullets. He left at home cartridges or magazines, I should say, that carried 10 or 20. What he brought to that school on that day were magazines, 10 of them, that carried 30 bullets. Over 154 shots fired in less than 5 minutes. Multiple exchanges of those magazines. It makes no sense to have those magazines legally owned in the state of Connecticut any longer. We know too much. It is too clear what must happen. So we've got to get back and make sure that we pass the kinds of laws that will make our malls, our post offices, our movie theaters, our schools, our public buildings, our parks safer. It is within our grasp. It is within days of happening. We must stand strong to get the right legislation passed. Thank you. God bless you. Keep up the fight.